Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just like mine, yeah, great. Hey guys, thanks for coming along. So I'm commercial director at Mo-Sys and been involved in the industry all my life, in VP probably for about 25 years. Just going to run you through what Mo-Sys does. I've got less than 10 minutes to do it. I haven't got any video, but I have a link at the end if you want to watch videos that I talk about here. So that's me. Oh, I've gone too far. Here we go. Right, so what is Mo-Sys? So we're first and foremost a manufacturer of remote production technology, of robotics, but mainly of virtual production. We're best known for star tracking. You can see it on the camera here, and it's up on the ceiling as well. These are the retroreflective markers that allow the camera to be positioned in 6-axis. But we're also pioneers, so we do things first. So this actually is the first easy to use, easy to set up, three-dimensional tracking system that moved in 6-axis. We actually have the patent on this technology. Most of the tracking today uses this type of technology. It's very accurate and it's very robust. We're an innovator, so we look at doing, fixing problems that are difficult to solve, so we tend to do them first. You'll see an example of that shortly in our XR focus, the ability to pull focus from real through the wall to a virtual character, which is going to become more important with digital doubles as we go forward. We're a system integrator, so as well as going on set and actually using our kit ourselves on set, we actually put these volumes together, and I'll talk a bit more about that later. And we also do training. One of the key issues in this industry that we're all facing now is that there aren't enough trained people, the knowledge isn't there, and it's both sides. It's the operators, and actually it's the creators as well, so we need to solve that. And I'll talk about how we do that shortly. These two images are interesting. I put them up there because I think, to me, it spans Mo-Sys's kind of experience. On the left-hand side is the computer that you would have to use just to have one tracked camera in the old days, way back in mid-1990s when computer-generated virtual production first started. So you had 3 cameras, you need 3 of these Onyx supercomputers. And by the way, this is the company that gave you NVIDIA. This is where NVIDIA came from. It was the Silicon Graphics team that departed. And then going forwards to look at Gravity, Warner Brothers, 2013. So we were involved in that film. You can see the LED panels here. These were used to reflect the space scene in Sandra Bullock's visor. And look at the date. This is well before The Mandalorian was ever started. And actually, to my knowledge, LED virtual production goes as far back as 2007 with David Fincher's film Zodiac. So it's not new, but it's been refined. There's a lot more technology that's come to light in the last few years. Very exciting. So what do we do? Main thing we're known for, I guess, is camera tracking. On the left is the current Star Trek. It's the one on this camera here. And to the right of that are the new ones, which are coming out at the end of this year and the beginning of next year. So the Star Trek Max is a smaller, lighter, more accurate version of the current one. And the Star Trek Mini is designed for kind of lower key productions that are trying to get into the big world. Think of productions done in sort of single story buildings, schools, universities. Once they know the Star Trek Mini, they can actually migrate to the Max. So these are the tracking systems we use here. Here's a typical diagram. It's not as good as Michael's, but it's a simpler one. So essentially what we've got here is the component parts of an LED volume. The bit that's missing here actually is the lighting. Very, very important for LED, particularly matching color gamuts, trying to get skin tones looking like skin rather than bad sunburn. But we basically make 2 parts of these 4 components here. We're making the tracking on the camera, and we're making the content server that drives the Unreal scene to the processor that drives the wall. So we do a lot more than just the camera tracking here. I jump on there? I did, yeah. So typical customers that we have, one on left, Talk Radio. That was a system integration job, given 3 weeks to turn a radio station into, or radio studio into a virtual production studio for the American elections. So they couldn't move, and we did it. And that went quite well, actually. The middle, BBC Olympics, our technology is used for both the Summer and the Winter Olympics just gone. And then obviously on the right-hand side, Strictly Come Dancing, we've been doing for the last few years. We're doing the rear floor projection and the AR graphics in this. And we also work with Amazon Studios. Amazon actually are the company that tested our near-time auto re-rendering system, first of all. They use that frequently on a multi-camera shoot. Obviously, the BBC talked about, and Netflix. We do a lot of, actually last year, I've just done a really complex, technically complex virtual production shoot using characters with hair, and that's a really difficult thing to do in the virtual production world. So got a wide space of customers around the world, very typical. Is that going to change? Yeah. So talked about systems. So this is actually a diagram from a film system we're putting together. This is a 20-meter back wall, 30-meter curve wall, movable, tiltable seating with a lighting rig for a film shoot. But it's typical of us to do not just film, but to do broadcast. So we're also just installing this week a system in Germany for the World Cup, all LED wall-based. So we do the whole spectrum, and that's everything we look after, even the support that comes after this. Talked about training, really, really important. So one of the problems we had was going into companies and them saying, we've got all the money, got the project, got the ambition, but we haven't got the trained people. And we also were getting asked a lot of questions about how do you do things, how do you set things up, how do you manage the color, how do you set up lighting for DPs. So we came up with the Academy. This is the only course I'm aware of that actually does on-set training using feedback from real shoots, real commercial shoots. And we take people through green screen, blue screen, and LED and show them all the spectrum of virtual production, because it isn't just about LED walls. It's a wide spectrum of technologies and techniques. And that runs in both LA and in London, and we're actually building partners up around the world for this as well. That's it for me. I'll go back. If you want to look at any videos of any of our products, it's that middle link there. If you want to mail me, at the bottom there. And that's my piece. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you again to Mike Grieve, everyone. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Fantastic. And what Mike picks up on there as well is, and that's an incredible thing you're doing at the Academy, that these spaces do exist and they're ready to be used, and that's what we're all here to do today. So please do, there will be options today. Ask the questions, make sure we're training ourselves up so we can start making use of these and building our own systems, because the technology's there and we need to get using it more. Wonderful. We're going to continue on systems now, moving from the tracking to the screens now, continue on processing. And we have a speaker from one of our sponsors from Brompton. Please welcome Patrick Godden. Patrick, you here?
Hello. Hi.